Welcome to the 11th Digital Pathways Seminar. This digital literacy series for small business owners is made possible by the Metropolitan Partnership Development Fund, an initiative from the Department of Jobs, Precincts and Regions. It is a collaboration between Bayside, Boroondara, Glen Eira and Stonington City Councils. Today's topic will be on evolving your digital marketing plan. So we'll start by looking at the distinction between reviewing and evolving. We'll look at working with failure. We'll look at the art of the stop and pivot, which is a big concept in digital marketing. And we'll once again visit the 5 whys method of understanding and resolving problems. So initially, I named this seminar Creating a Digital Marketing Review Structure. I chose this title because reviewing campaigns on a quarterly, 6-monthly, or yearly basis plays a key role in the digital marketing industry, particularly in terms of planning and billing cycles. Whilst I do think it is valuable to set aside time every 6 or 12 months to review what you're doing online, this kind of rigid create, implement, review structure isn't really suited to the needs of small business, where you're closely relating to the digital environment you've created for your business. You're probably in charge of it, and you don't necessarily have time to set aside hours or days to reviewing a existing plan. So today, what I'll be talking about instead is almost the opposite of the concept of reviewing structures. So it's the idea of looking at your digital marketing plan as a living, working document that evolves with your business instead of a static roadmap. So I'll be talking a little around the psychology of doing this. So first of all, there is a very good chance that your digital marketing strategy is not going to go to plan. Don't panic. In my experience, most digital marketing campaigns look drastically different in action than they do on paper. This happens for a wide variety of reasons, i.e. something takes more time to gain traction than expected. That's particularly common on social media as algorithms change, or if you have a new website. Another issue is something needs more resources than you expected to get the desired result. This happens a lot with creative content. Another issue is the message doesn't hit right, or in practice, a strategy just doesn't quite align with what you envisioned and what your audience expected from your brand. This is really a universal experience in digital marketing. It doesn't mean you failed. It just means that your strategy needs a little bit of finessing. So don't lose heart or think you failed when this happens, and don't stop if something isn't working. Instead, take a pause and pivot. So don't stop, pivot refers to making an intentional shift in your digital marketing strategy. It could be as big as shifting platforms, or as small as tweaking your messaging around a particular product or service to touch on a different pain point with your customers. Some of the most common roadblocks that marketers hit are underperforming marketing strategies, i.e. something like, despite your best efforts to produce useful and engaging blogs, your organic traffic results, where people find you through Google, haven't moved anywhere. You might be using the wrong channel in a stage of your marketing cycle, i.e. you thought that paid Google ads would result in a boost in qualified leads. So serving the interest or desire part of your cycle, people who are almost ready to make a purchase, but instead your paid Google ads have resulted in a boost in generic traffic with no increase in inquiries. So it's serving the awareness stage instead. And financially speaking, spending ad money on just making more of an audience aware of your brand probably isn't financially viable. Another common issue is that your idea of the user journey isn't quite lining up with how users interact with your brand, i.e. you might get lots of likes on your social media posts, but no one is actually using the platform to shop or click through to your site, even though you really planned that as a key part of your digital sales cycle and your lead nurturing process. So managing issues when they arise is a matter of getting down to defining the problem and getting to the root cause. And this is where the 5 whys system is very useful again. So this is an aspect of agile project management. It's a really simple technique. You start off by identifying the problem. You ask, why did this happen? And there may be several causes. For each of those causes, you ask, why did it happen again? And you repeat steps 2 and 3 several times. It could actually take anywhere between 3 to 8 whys before you get to the root cause of the situation. But by the end of it, you should have identified the root cause of the problem and then be able to find countermeasures and build processes to fix or prevent the problem in future. So this is an example that I used in the first seminar that we did of this series. I've tweaked it a little bit to reflect what you guys have learned and kind of about the example that I want to give regarding stop and pivot. So the issue was that on an e-commerce site, customers are abandoning their carts at the website checkout. So we ask, why is this happening? Some of the reasons might be there is some level of cart abandonment to be expected across the industry. You're not going to get every shot that you take. There might be a poor user experience going on. Customers might have a hard time clicking through the checkout process, selecting their currency. They might have a hard time putting in their details or finding the checkout process even. Customers aren't committed to the purchase, meaning they're not really at the purchase stage when they come to your website, which is a problem because, when you want to get someone onto your website, it's particularly in e-commerce, you want them to be making a purchase, not just browsing. Or they might also abandon the cart because of unexpected costs that pop up towards the end, something like high shipping, unexpected taxes, something like that. So in this example, I chose to focus on that customers are not committed to purchase. So why would customers not be committed to a purchase? Well, it could be, one reason is that customers are seeing the product for the first time on the website, aka they're window shopping. And why would that be? Well, that's probably because they haven't been made aware of a product or even some part of this aspect of your brand or a service on another platform where they usually do their browsing. So they've come to your website instead. Like I said, drawing people all the way through onto your website just to window shop is a pretty expensive, pretty costly way in terms of leads and resources, way of pulling people through your marketing cycle. People tend to not spend a lot of time on websites. They tend to click away. It's really hard to get somebody to commit to your brand and to your website. And when they do, you want to make it count. So why would they be, you need to be made, customers haven't been made aware of the product or brand or service on other platforms. Why is that? Well, the issue would be that your brand is not visible or visible enough on the platform where your customers are. And why might that be? Well, it's either that you've got the wrong platform, so your customers aren't actually on the platform that you thought they were, or you've got the wrong content strategy, so people aren't engaging with your content and it's not visible enough for your customers to find you and engage with you, learn about your products, and then go on to your website to shop. So fixing this problem once identified would probably first involve revisiting what you think the user journey looks like. You probably need to get a little insight into where your audience is coming from. So at this point, looking at traffic source data here on Google Analytics, like, are they coming through social? Are they coming through Google? Are they coming through a referral link on another website? Or are they typing your web address directly into the bar? Those could all be, that kind of traffic data could be really useful, or simply asking your customers, how did you find out about us when you see them, is probably going to shed a lot of light on where your customer journey mapping is going awry. So two possible answers to come out of this exploration might be that you have chosen the right platform, but you're simply not getting the level of visibility you need to succeed. So to boost your visibility, you might consider experimenting with new types of content on a platform, i.e., on Instagram, using reels, stories, or live functions, or doing something like researching audience engagement techniques and trying out something new, like competitions, tag a friend, resharing user content, posting up reviews, playing around with different techniques. Another option with changing your marketing efforts on the platform might be implementing paid marketing on the platform, either through running ads. So visibility on social media platforms particularly is due to the algorithm, and the algorithm on Facebook and Instagram is geared towards championing brands that spend money on pushing their posts up rather than organic posts. They make it harder for people to get engagement for free. So you can give the platform what they want and do some paid advertising, so your visibility is guaranteed to increase. Or you might go a different direction and engage influencers to promote your product to your target audience. Now, a different conclusion you might come to is that your audience just isn't becoming aware of your brand and engaging with it via the channel that you thought that they would. So in this case, it might be time to move your efforts away from one platform onto the one where your customers are spending most of their time. And as a final step, you might return to your digital marketing plan and update both your target audience, or your audience personas, and your user journey, just so that when you do get a chance again to revisit your digital marketing plan in a big way, or your business goes through a point of evolution where you're able to employ a marketer or employ a web design company to update your site, you're able to provide them with the information of how your customers move through their journey. And it's a really informed customer journey, because you've been documenting how people behave as they move through your site through a process of trial and error, or stop and pivot. So here's another example of the 5 Whys system using Paris of the South Cafe. So in this instance, Paris of the South Cafe has been running paid ads via Instagram, and the Instagram impressions are high, so people are clicking through to the page. This paid ad system is all about getting likes and getting follows. So the impressions are high, but page engagement is low. So people click through to the page, but they don't actually follow the brand. They don't like any of the media. They click away. So why would this be happening? This suggests that the engagement stage strategy is effective, so it is pulling people in, but something is lacking in the interest or desire, or possibly even delight phase of the cycle once people are on the page. So why would that be? This suggests that there's a disconnect between what is being advertised in the awareness stage via the paid ad and what is actually offered on the page in terms of content. And why might this be happening? Well, it suggests that key branding elements are not being incorporated at some point in the strategy. It could be in the ad. So, the thing that you are advertising via paid media is not actually what you are offering in the cafe, or it could be via the page. The page is not reflective of what your brand has to offer, and it doesn't reflect what your advertising is guaranteeing in the paid ad. And why might that be? Well, in social media, some of the most common places where branding tends to slip can be in terms of language, imagery, content, like the types of content you put up, or the messaging of your brand. So ultimately, the root cause that we have here is inconsistent branding across different stages of the marketing cycle. So managing the issue of inconsistent branding is probably across different stages of the sales cycle is probably first going to start with a review of the 2 stages. So look at the paid advertising that you're doing and also look at the page, particularly through the lens of your brand and your branding, and to identify where things are inconsistent, where there might be mismatches, where there might be some confusion. Customers want you to be consistent in language, in branding, in imagery, right the way through the cycle. And you need to make sure there's a smooth transition happening between all of those stages. Otherwise, they'll back away. So the next step is to streamline your marketing content. And there are plenty of different ways to do that to make sure your content aligns with your brand. One way of doing this might be to first do a competitor analysis of a brand that has strong engagement to see what they do, and then use that as a stepping off point to experiment with new types of content yourself. So you might take the idea of running a competition or something like that, or a customer picture of the day, something like that, and try it out on your audience to see if that produces a different kind of engagement. Another possibility is you might want to go and dig into your own insights, the Instagram insights, and see what the customers engage with the most, what posts are interesting to them. Is it user-generated content when you repost customer pictures? Is it pictures of the food? Is it pictures of the staff? Is it pictures of the chef talking about what's fresh this week? Is it inspiration pictures behind your brand? Pinpoint what the things are that people respond to and post more of that and less of the other stuff. And the last point might be to just review and adjust language. So again, looking at those common sticking points across inconsistent branding on social media. A really common one is the language. Like I said, you need to be speaking the same language with the same tone across all of your marketing. So if your awareness stage content in the paid advertising in this case is really upbeat and friendly, going, welcome, come over, we look forward to having you. And then on the page itself about the cafe, it's really cool and laid back, then you've got an inconsistent language problem and you need to tweak one way or another to make it better align with your brand and make sure you're drawing through the right audience and giving the audience what they expect. So this week in workshop tasks, your task is to first envision a possible roadblock that you might hit with your current digital marketing plan. Then use the 5 why system to parse out those potential causes and come up with some pivot strategy options. Also, let me know if there's anything you would like me to talk about in detail in the next seminar. So that's our last one. I will be reviewing the course as a whole, but I will also set aside some time to answer questions from the audience if you'd like to send them in. So if you'd like me to talk more about content strategy, more about paid marketing, more about email marketing, more about branding, more about competitor analysis, let me know. I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope you tune in next week. Thank you.